So what exactly are you here today doing?
We're picketing and leafleting about a boycott against Israeli products that are sold at MEC, Mountain Equipment Co-op. It's a co-op store, so it's really easy for people to get membership and to change it from within because they also have an ethical sourcing code, and we're arguing that by buying products from companies that have links with Israeli apartheid, they're violating their ethical sourcing code.
What kind of information are you giving out to people today?
Well, there's basically 19 products that Mountain Equipment Co-op sells that are Israeli products, and we're just trying to bring people's attention to those. Some of those products are made by exploiting Palestinians directly. Some of those products are made in Gaza, and they're not actually Israeli products, they're actually Palestinian products. So there's a number of issues that we're just trying to inform people about, get them to know all the details about the issue so that they can be informed as possible and then make important consumer choices, and also try to get Mountain Equipment Co-op to stop supporting Israel by selling these products.
There are some people who are saying that the term apartheid, when it's applied to Israel, is really, it's inflammatory and it's not accurate. How would you respond to that?
The problem is, for that terminology or that argument, it is accurate. Consider the fact that Palestinians have to use a pass to get through any checkpoint. They have to have identification pass. There are roads that Israelis can use freely, Palestinians cannot. There are places where Palestinians have no access to water, but illegal Israeli settlers get all the water they need, including swimming pools. In Israel itself, there are 1.5 million Palestinian Israeli citizens, but they are second-class citizens. They cannot buy land, they cannot build houses. Most of the land is owned by the Jewish National Fund, which does not ever sell land to a Palestinian Israeli. So if you really want to know what apartheid is, go to Israel, both West Bank and Israel proper, and you'll find out.
How's the reaction to this been so far?
I mean, it's Edmonton, right? So you get the people who are just too busy with what they're doing to stop. But I don't know, I've had a few good conversations with folks, and people seem, appreciative of getting the information. And,
A lot of people going like, "Wow, I didn't know that," kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in Edmonton. The issue of Palestine-Israel is something that we have to do a lot more work in getting the word out. And I think a lot of people assume that everything MEC does is good. So yeah, I think there's a lot of education we have to do.
The BDS movement has been criticized mainly by people who are pro-Israel, but to say that, well, if you want to boycott everything Israeli, then there's a very long list of things that you have to boycott in order to be consistent. How would you respond to that kind of a claim?
Well, I think for us, the boycott movement is first and foremost an educational movement. So we don't expect to be able to boycott everything which comes from Israel, but we do expect to raise public discussion, public consciousness, and general information about the atrocities committed on a daily basis against Palestinians and against the long-term brutal military occupation of their occupied territories. So for us, the boycott is basically a tactic that we use to raise consciousness and to enable Canadians to take their responsibilities to become global citizens.
I was confused for a lot of years about the situation, but I know that the boycott has been requested by the Palestinian people. It's not about MEC, it's just about the state of apartheid there, and that was the thing that finally got South Africa to pay attention to the world's demands about apartheid. So I'm just here to stand in solidarity and do what the Palestinian people have asked for us.
How do you feel about the stance that Mountain Equipment Co-op is taking on this issue? They're saying that they don't take sides in a political issue, and they don't take a stand on the issue.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people and corporations who believe that freedom to shop is one of the charter freedoms. It's not. And they are taking sides by selling goods that are produced by an apartheid regime. Simple. Yeah.
They thought of it as
Have you been to Palestine?
Yeah.
And how does this sort of relate to the things that you saw while you were there?
Well, the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement came about as a means to try to, I think, not only raise awareness on the issue, but of course as a way to find ways to pressure Israel into realizing what they're doing is wrong through international pressure. I mean, some contend that it worked in South Africa. So this is another tactic to be used, and what I saw there and what I experienced was massive. I mean, it was oppression and racial discrimination on ends I've never witnessed before. And I mean, it's a very contentious issue for very many obvious reasons, and it's one that's difficult to approach with people that only know of a Holocaust, that only know of Israel's right to defend itself, yet they don't know of the Palestinians' right to defend themselves. And that's where, you know, the conjecture or that's just where the problem really lies, because they don't have any rights. And there's of course, as much corruption there as anywhere else, but they are totally at the mercy of Israel and the international larger community. It's all geostrategic, it's economic, it's religious. I mean, you can look through all the lens and still be confounded.
Yeah, I think what we haven't